DC's Lazarus Planet event just laid the groundwork for the new DC universe and comics. Let's see where it takes us. What's up, my comic comrades? The Lazarus Planet event officially kicked off the new continuity for DC labeled The Dawn of DC. And it did so in a big way. The stage was set in Mark Waid's Batman Superman's World's Finest title. And the story was fully set into motion in Lazarus Planet Omega 1. So we're going to give you a summary of everything you need to know so far. First and foremost, the Lazarus Planet story begins when a Lazarus volcano erupts, spreading dangerous, transformative chemicals into the Earth's atmosphere. Then as Lazarus clouds start to rain on everyone and everything on Earth, people start to develop strange new abilities, causing complete chaos in the DC universe. But with that said, let's go back to see how this all started and who the key players are. Now, as I said earlier, it all really started in Mark Waid's Batman Superman's World's Finest title, specifically issues 1 through 5. The story takes place in the not-so-distant past, where we see a classic Batman and Dick Grayson Robin team up with Superman to fight the devil Nezza. Said devil is manipulating everyone, even Alfred Pennyworth in the Batcave, as we see at the end of issue 3. Nezza even takes control of Green Lantern, who tries to contain Batman and Superman in a Green Lantern construct jail. But while fighting this devil-possessed Hal Jordan, Batman and Superman are able to focus all of their will on Green Lantern's ring to be able to draw it to them, making them fuse together Dragon Ball style into a character I like to call Superbat. Superbat then takes on all these devil-controlled heroes and eventually Nezza himself by flying him into space. Then they get an assist from Supergirl, who punches him. At this point, Batman and Superman defuse, but long story short, Superman is able to send Nezza to the Phantom Zone and then lock him inside of a magical prison. And just like that, Nezza is defeated, or at least for now. For those of you wondering what does this have to do with Lazarus Planet, trust me, it is all important. We're getting there. Anyway, from here we go to Josh Williamson's 2021 Robin title, specifically the first 12 issues. The first arc of this title deals with Damian learning about the Deadly League of Lazarus tournament. This is a Mortal Kombat-like tournament that Damian enters into to prove he's the greatest fighter in the world. You see, just like in Mortal Kombat, the greatest fighters from around the world are invited to compete, and Damian got an invitation to said tournament by someone known as Mother Soul, the Shang Tsung of this tournament, so to speak. Anyway, he makes his way to Lazarus Island in an old creaky boat with several other fighters, again, just like in Mortal Kombat. And when he arrives at the island, he meets more fighters along with Mother Soul, the host of this tournament. She tells the fighters once every 100 years, the League of Lazarus gathers the best fighters in the world, those who are willing to become living legends. Each of you has earned your opportunity to reap the rewards of Lazarus Island. This place may appear to be paradise, but it is the greatest battle arena in the world. I warn against making friends. That being said, if you have made it this far, it is safe to assume you are aware of the rules. Damian then interrupts, saying, "You talk too much. All this chit-chat is a waste of time. I came here to fight, so let's fight." Damian quickly gets what he asked for as a character called Flatline says, "I call dibs." Her and Damian start fighting, and it eventually ends with her ripping Damian's heart out from his chest with her bare hand, saying, "On Lazarus Island, we fight to the death." But wouldn't you know it, in the next issue, Damian Wayne has been healed by the Lazarus Pit. Mother Soul explains all fights here are to the death. You were brought here because you were willing to kill to win. I'm sure you've all heard the legends. No matter how horrific the death, you'll be resurrected. But you get 3 deaths, and only 3 deaths. After each of you has died at least once, the true tournament will begin. Consider your first death a sparring match, so it's quite literally the 3 strikes you're out rule. Anyway, as the series and tournament goes on, we learn by issue 10 that Mother Soul is actually the mother of Ra's al Ghul, making Mother Soul Damian's great-grandmother. We continue to learn in issue 10 of Robin that many years ago Ra's al Ghul used magic, the demon's magic, to create a spell that cursed his mother and the Lazarus Pit demon to Lazarus Island. He did this because his mother is essentially a more extreme version of himself, if you could even believe that bullcrap. You see, while Ra's al Ghul wants to eradicate all evil on Earth by eliminating a portion of humanity because this would help his ultimate goal of creating a world with perfect environmental balance, his mother, on the other hand, wants to use the Lazarus demon that lives within the pits to purge the entire planet and start again. Ra's tells his mother, "The Earth is worth saving, mother. The air, the land, the water in the sky, they are still worth saving." But his mother tells him, "No, I had to die to be reborn. So does everyone in the world." The demon is right, but Ra's fancies himself as a man of science and does not agree with his mother's faith in some demon, which is why he named himself Ra's al Ghul, the demon's head, because he's the one who makes the rules, not anyone else. So at this point, he knows there's no convincing or stopping his mother, so he conjures a spell and traps his mother and the demon women on the island. But now all these years later, she is free, and she also wants to free the Lazarus demon so they can basically conquer the world and start anew. Now, of course, at this point, Robin can't let that happen, so him and his new friends on the island, along with his grandfather Ra's al Ghul, stop his great-grandmother and the Lazarus demon, defeating them and getting off the island. This all leads directly into Mark Waid's Batman vs. Robin series, specifically the first 4 issues, and this is where everything starts to come together. You see, we learn in the first 4 issues of this series that Robin has been mind-controlled to go after Batman by Nezha and Mother Soul. That's right, Nezha from Batman Superman World's Finest and Mother Soul from Robin are free once again and now working together. But the mind-controlling doesn't stop at Damian. No, the pair also mind-controlled the rest of the Robins from the Bat family, like Nightwing, Red Hood, Spoiler, and Tim Drake. Long story short, by issue 4 of the series, Batman is finally able to break the spell Nezha has on Damian by donning the Helmet of Fate. That's right, Batman put on the Helmet of Fate. But the crazy thing about the Helmet of Fate is that we learn in issue 3 of the series, before Batman puts it on, that Nezha and Mother Soul have trapped and forced powerful magic user Black Alice to essentially steal every magic user's magic in the DC universe and imbue it inside the helmet. That way, when Nezha puts on the Helmet of Fate, he would be the most powerful being in the universe. But as we know, Batman was able to beat Nezha to it in issue 4 as Talia kicked the helmet out of Nezha's hands, allowing Batman to pick it up and put it on, breaking the devil's spell on Damian. Now at this point, Batman with the Helmet of Fate starts going one-on-one against Nezha. We have an epic magical fight for a few pages, but ultimately Nezha is able to grab the helmet while still on Batman's head, saying, "The helm is mine." And while Batman tries to break his grip, Nezha ultimately shatters the helmet, causing it to fall off Bruce's head and into a Lazarus pit. At this point, Damian stabs the devil from behind, and when he goes to retaliate, Batman jumps in front of his blast, taking the fatal blow for his son. And in the middle of all this, Talia is fighting Mother Soul, and Damian tries to save his great-grandmother, but she's like, nah, and lets herself die. Meanwhile, Nezha's son King Fireball shows up to fight. It's at this point Nezha's son King Fireball comes after him. Fireball says, "You knew I would come for you someday. Come for the man who murdered my true parents." So while he's busy fighting his son, Black Alice siphons some of Nezha's life force energy, along with using the remaining remnants of the Lazarus magic available there. While all this is happening, Nezha is able to escape his son, with his son saying, "No, I will not be denied vengeance." So he goes after him. Meanwhile, we learn that Batman needs more Lazarus magic to be fully restored, but they're out of time because the volcano on the island is erupting Lazarus. So they help Batman up and into a jet and fly away from the volcano as it bursts into the sky. And this eruption is what causes Lazarus to get into Earth's atmosphere, specifically the clouds, which eventually rains down on Earth, giving people new abilities. Now this brings us directly into Lazarus Planet Alpha. In this one shot, we basically see the entire planet is raining Lazarus rain, which is doing all kinds of crazy stuff to people's powers. As the issue goes on, we see a group of heroes go to the Tower of Fate to free the magic users, whose powers have been siphoned into artifacts by Nezha. Now while Damian, Power Girl, Blue Beetle, and several other heroes are trying to restore the magical users, Batman, Talia al Ghul end up fighting Nezha once again. And with the help of Swamp Thing and Poison Ivy, finally pull out the win. Meanwhile, the magical users that Damian and the other group of heroes went to save are finally freed. Swamp Thing then asks, "Is he dead?" Supergirl says, "The supers don't kill, but we hit hard. I can hear a heartbeat, a faint one." As we see some of Nezha's powers infecting Batman more so. Supergirl continues to say, "But if we're looking for some way to draw magic from him to heal Batman, I'm not sure that's an option now." Batman then says, "No need, I'm better than ever," as we see Batman essentially turn into Nezha. Now all this leads to the most current issue in the Lazarus Planet saga, Lazarus Planet Omega one-shot. In the issue, we see Damian Wayne and several other heroes fighting off King Fireball, the son of Nezha. Narrations from Damian tells us, at first all he wanted was to kill his father, but now he's got loftier goals. King Fireball says, "Your world's magic has run amok. It has gathered itself into a hellstorm enveloping the planet, endangering millions, but I know it can be reclaimed. This sorcerer, the one you call Black Alice, I'm told she could return it to where it belongs, but I have decided it belongs in me." So basically the issue deals with King Fireball now wanting all the magic that has been let free on Earth for himself. But of course our heroes can't let that happen, so the Justice League come in to stop him, but that only works momentarily, at which point the magic users get involved, but that doesn't help too much. So Black Alice, who seems to be the only one who could siphon magic back into itself, steps in, sacrificing herself to restore all the powers back to the rest of the magic users in the DC universe, like Zatanna, Phantom Stranger, Spectre, and so on. It's at this point all of DC's heroes and villains come together to fight a common threat, King Fireball. And in the end, Spectre, the Wrath of God, defeats him by trapping him in a ball that he holds in his hand. Now with King Fireball seemingly defeated, Madame Xanadu tells Zatanna and Damian Wayne, all we can be certain of is that going forward, magic as we know it will not behave precisely as it once did. Hundreds of beings around the world will attest to that, some granted new abilities, some otherwise transformed, some whose stories have yet to be told, as we see Black Alice is still alive, walking off by herself. The issue then ends with Damian reuniting with his father. As he's hugging him, Damian asks, "Father, did you find Nezha? Are you healed? What happened to you?" To the others, Batman replies, "Don't worry, everyone's accounted for, or will be soon." As we see, Batman is clearly still infected by Neza, with an evil grin and green eyes, with the comic saying, "To be continued in Batman vs. Robin 5. And with that, the Lazarus Planet story carries us into the dawn of DC. I gotta say, I'm enjoying this so far, and the direction that's being set up is pretty crazy. I'm especially curious to see what's going to happen to Batman as he's become possessed by the devil. You can be sure we'll continue to cover where DC is headed with all of this as the new initiative progresses. But what do you guys think of this series and event? Are you digging it as well? Let us know down in the comments. And that's going to bring today's episode to a close, but if you enjoyed this video, check out this one right here. And if you like all of our content, like, subscribe, and comment. It helps us out. But other than that, I'll see you next time when I talk about all things comics.